Hello, everyone. Hello. I am Kamara Daughtry, and today we have a very special treat. I'm going to share my screen, but a part of Digital Career Opportunities Worldwide. We have a very special guest, Ms. Claribel Nunez. She is the Recruitment Manager, and she is the Dean of Students for the Emma Bowen Foundation. We have so many people here to join us. If you are not, if you can please be on mute so everybody can hear. I'm going to mute everybody so everybody can hear what is being said. But we are in for a treat. Today we are going to talk about landing the job. All right. By a show of hands or emojis, how many people are looking for their next job or their next internship? Yep, everybody on here. And today's event is very special. Like I said before, Ms. Claribel Nunez, she is the recruitment manager for the Emma Bowen Foundation. The Emma Bowen Foundation is located in New York City. It serves for minority students, Black, Hispanic, Asian American, and any minority. And really what this program does is it places you at a news station. It can be for up to 1 to 2 or for 3 years, how many years left you have in college. And then you are able to stay at that news station and learn. We know because of 2020 and what happened with the pandemic, everything now has went virtual. So no longer do you get that one-on-one touch that you used to. You go to your college and career center and get some help. Now everything is done online. So one of the things that we focus on, especially with DCOW, is before people even see your face, they already make an assumption about you based on the resume. Oftentimes, if somebody sees you online, they could see that you are a social media coordinator and reach out. They won't even really ask you too many questions. They're going to say, can I see your resume? Your resume is going to show them a snapshot really on who you are and what you have done. So today, Ms. Claribel, who goes over resumes, okay? She takes her time. She has even helped me when I was in college, and she got me together. But we're really going to dive in what you can put on your resume to stand out, how you can land a job, and how we can stop making some of these mistakes. Let me see this. Ms. Claribel, are you able to come off of mute? Let me see.
There you go.
Okay, great. So
good evening, everyone. Nice to join you.
If you can, for the icebreaker that we are going to do, if you haven't already, one of the things that we do in DCOW is we connect. So I would like everyone to drop their city and state. If you are new to Digital Career Opportunities Worldwide, after this program, I want you to go to dcowmember.com and register for our other events. Again, we're going to discuss job preparation, resume and interview techniques, and also for recent grads, how can I land a job 6 months out of college? And then we are also going to go to group Q&A. Another thing, if you are interested in being on air and you are not registered for the membership program, make sure that you sign up for our on-air presence class. It's going to be important. We have limited spots, and I want to make sure that everybody who wants to be on air and get a job being a TV reporter, they had the opportunity to do that. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to let Ms. Claribel have the floor. First thing is first, Ms. Claribel, please introduce yourself and then give people a little background on what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Sure. Thank you, Kamara. Thank you for having us, or me. I feel like us because Emma Bowen is like this huge family, and there's not just one of us. There's a whole team supporting students throughout the country that are looking for jobs in media. A little bit about myself. I've been with the Emma Bowen Foundation for the past 5 years. Oh, actually 6 years. And I've done different things. Currently, I am the Dean of Students. So anything that a student has on their mind or is going on, whether that has to do with school, that has to do with their internship, or even their personal life, you know, they're able to reach out to me and we work through the issue, whatever that is. But currently at this moment, the biggest thing that we're doing right now is recruitment. So recruitment, this year we've launched our application in September. We will continue to do placements until every opportunity is filled. I sent Camara a message, so of some locations that were still lacking students, good applicants. To be part of the program, you have to be a person of color. You have to have a 3.0 or better, and you have to be interested in the media industry. So we do hire students that are business majors, but are interested in the media industry because as things change, for example, there's a lot of companies that are looking for students that are interested in analytics, students that are computer science, and computer engineers, because it all has to do with change in times. So social media platforms, across the board, it's just, things are changing. Recently this week, we received a request from a news outlet that is asking for a student that's a business major or journalism major and business major, because they have an opportunity for a person that is interested in the business aspect or finance aspect of journalism. So things are changing. So, your careers will also evolve as time goes on. One of the things that I do currently at this time while we're doing recruitment is I review applications. Our application process is, you have an application, which is pretty simple, just your regular name, address, where do you go to school, your GPA, your resume. And then a few days later, then you have to complete what we call a hire view, which is an online interview. So I review the resumes, then, and the hire views and your application. And we match you up to partner companies that are asking for things that you have supplied on your resume. So Camara wanted me to talk about resumes, and I say it lightly because resumes are your most important piece of your story at this time. So while you're going to school, it's important that you keep a record of things that you're doing, because sometimes we do things and we're not thinking like, it's not a big deal. I wrote a story for the school paper, or I'm working at my church, I do all the social media for them. All those are things that you can put on your resume. So just a couple of tips real quick is, your resume should have your current and correct name, your contact information. That includes your phone number, your correct phone number, and your email that you are going to check. Because a lot of students use their school address, however, they don't check it. And so you have to send on your resume, should be the email that your phone is giving you an alert. You want to be a notification, whatever, alert, because nowadays they're going to email you. Most of the time they're going to email you for your first interview. And so you want to make sure that that is correct. And I'm saying that because one of the things that I do is I check what we call the reject emails, the emails that are returned.
Right.
And they're returned for simple things like you use your school address and it's supposed to be EDU and you only put EU, or you put Gmail, you spell Gmail wrong. And of course, sometimes you spell your name wrong. So the email is kicked back. And so that's why I say that.
Let me ask
The
you.
other thing.
Oh, let me see. I saw you, but then I didn't see you. Okay, but I think you are still, okay, no, I see you at the top. I wanted to ask you, Ms. Claribel, we have a mixed group of students in here. So we have people who have recently graduated, and then we also have a new batch of college students who joined because they will be looking for a job this summer. But a general question I think that can apply to everyone. When we are talking about a resume, like you said, having those things that we think are should be second nature, your name, the email that you're going to check, and correct phone number. What is a good way to stand out in your resume, even if you haven't done a lot of journalism related work?
So your resume should be clean. You know, you can go to Google, you can go to YouTube. There's plenty of sample resumes. Um, if you're a recent, if you're a recent graduate, your resume should only be 1 page long. If you don't have a lot of experience, but I'm going to just use retail. So you have worked at retail, your college career, let's just say. Pick things out of what you were doing at that retail store that are related to your field. So let's say you're working at Marshall's. You did customer service. Sometimes you may be doing recruitment, you know, not recruitment, straightening out the store. You may be doing the register. So what things are related to your field? So it's all about words. The words that you use to describe what you're doing at that job is what makes a difference of a good resume versus one that's not going to be seen. So if you have limited experience, make sure that whatever that experience is, that you make it sound like you were doing something fantastic.
Right. And also, let me say this. So what I did was Ms. Claribel talked about look at resume templates. Everybody here has access to a Gmail, okay? I'm about to give you some, as we call it, a TikTok hack tips. So you're going to go into Gmail. You're going to go into templates where it says resume, pick one. And this, I'm going to click on this resume template. And it's going to load for me. And this is a good way to start your resume. One of the things that we talk about for today with resume techniques, oftentimes, even if you have taken a break or a hiatus, or you say, listen, I do freelance work and I'm looking for a job, I want to encourage you, always have your resume ready. You never know when it's going to be called, always. I don't care if you did volunteer work. What you're going to do is begin to fill these things out. And what I want you to know is when she said, for example, I get this question, Kamara, I did retail, or Kamara, I worked at the call center. You are going to really go, and if you're applying for an on-air job or a digital producing job, number one, the first hack I gave you was go to resume templates. Number two, I want you to look up the job description that you are applying for. And I want you to start copying and pasting and really tailoring those words. So whether it's communication, whether it's teamwork, whether it's digital, I want you to start placing those words in your resume so they can stand out. I'm going to ask you 3 more questions, and then Ms. Claribel, I'm going to open the floor. So everyone, stay with me. But I'm going to ask 3 more questions, then I'm going to open the floor, so make sure that you are ready. And I know a lot of you have messaged me who have had interviews this week. So I want to make sure that your questions get answered. And a couple of you have interviewed with the Emma Bowen Foundation, so that's really good. One of my next questions is relating to really interview techniques. In interviews, oftentimes we see some of our people, they get the interview, but how come they don't get the job? What do you think are some key interview techniques, especially virtually, that we need to do to make a good impression?
First, research the company. Research the company, know something about the company, what they do, where they're, maybe, you know, their financial folder, what that looks like. Depending on the position, you should know what the position is as well. So as Kamara pointed out, look at the job description and look and see what's in the job description, so that when you go in and they ask you a question regarding something that's in the job description, that you're able to reply to that. So an example is video editing. So it may have video editing. Do you know video editing? If you don't, then you need to have an answer for that. Like if they ask you, oh, what's your experience in video editing? A good answer is, oh, I don't have a lot of experience. However, I have been able to do a family video on my phone, and I edited that. Or you can just say, I don't have a lot of experience, but I'm more than happy to learn. Is there something that you recommend? So in other words, that leaves you open to say like, yeah, I don't have a lot of experience, but I'm more than happy to learn. So if you give me some tools, I'll be, I can do that. And it just shows some willingness to be flexible. Maybe you don't have that, but you have the other things. So remember that when you start your first job, even though you have all the skills that they're asking for, more than likely they're going to train you for what they want you to do.
Right.
So that's why it's important that you know the job description.
Yeah, and that's really good. Know the job description. Even if you are putting out, for example, most of the time, people who reach out, they say, listen, I want to do on air. I don't mind taking a producer job. Let's look at an MMJ position. You're fresh out of school or you're heading to your next market. You want to tailor this. And if you've worked in retail, you did have sharp judgment, news judgment. I stayed updated when it came to Apple News. Excellent technical skills. I work independently. You had to take the racks. You had to take the clothes and put them on the racks. That's independent work. What you want to do is begin to tailor your resume for the job. And then when they say, well, listen, when you get in the interview and they say, well, hey, this is Live U Plus or experience with live shots, you really want to sell yourself. What are this is my second question, and again, stay with us. What is a good way to stand out in an interview?
I think it's important, first of all, everyone knows, as a panelist knows, that you are going to be nervous. Right now, since we're doing all this virtual stuff, make sure that you have a clean background. Don't, do it in the bathroom where you could see that there's tile, and don't use a top for the females that looks like you're in the bathroom with very little clothing on. It just gives a weird feeling. You don't want the person that's interviewing you to pay attention to the background instead of you or what you're saying. That's really important. And now, because many people are doing virtual, the first interview is an online interview like we do for our application.
Right.
So there's no one on the other side. It's just the computer asking you questions. You want to make sure that the same thing stands. Dress appropriately, have good lighting, especially if you're dark skinned. Make sure that there's enough light that people can see you.
Right.
I'm saying that because we experience that. Like, we often get, I know space is limited sometimes, but if you're in a dark room and you're dark skinned, I can't see you. And I do things that I do things to help students that no one probably would do. I would call someone like that and tell them like, hey, can you redo your video because it's so dark, I can barely see you. But no one's going to do that. That's just me. That's one of my things. And to stand out, just make sure that you can answer those questions that they're going to ask you. They're going to ask you, what's your 5-year plan?
What's your 5-year plan? That's a good one. So if you write,
they're going to ask you that. They're going to ask you like, what do you, what can you offer the company? You have to have that answer. Long term, is there, what are your plans to stay with us? Like, they want to know loyalty. And, they know too that you're going to answer the question. You're going to try to answer the question to make it an impression. So don't sound like you're lying. Be as honest as you can, or at least sound as honest as you can, because you want them to believe that what you're saying is true. Those are some of the pointers. Just know the company, because I think a lot of times you're applying for so many things that you don't have time to research everyone that gives you an interview. But that's why it's important that you check, because when they ask you that question, like, can you tell me something about the CEO of the company? Or can you tell me how long we've been around? What can you tell me about our profit and loss statement? Like, you should know something. Maybe you don't know the profit and loss, but you know at least the name of the CEO.
Right.
or you know that the company's been around for 5 years or whatever it is. It's not that hard to do. Just all you got to do is go online and you can find anything.
Yeah, that's excellent. If you're writing some bullet points, Ms. Claribel just gave you some excellent tips. Number one, research the company. And you can say, well, listen, I can't do a whole paper on a company, but what you want to know is bullet points. Who is the CEO? When was this founded? If someone was to ask you, when I did my interview for Emma Bowen in my college dorm room, they said, well, who is Emma Bowen? I said she was an activist. She would go out on the streets in New York and advocate for Black journalists. And then it turned into Hispanic and then to other ethnicities. So you want to be able to be confident. What I tell my people at DCOW is during the interview, I want you to stand up. It sounds crazy, but one girl, she did like 8 interviews. I kid you not, she did 8 interviews. And I kept on asking her, we just went over some different techniques. And I said, well, try something different. Stand up. She was able to, get a job, but I think that was helpful in boosting her confidence. And that was Stephanie Guzman. And she was able, now she's a digital editor in Sacramento at an O&O station. By the show of hands, I want you all to just show me with the Zoom emoji hand, who wants to be on air? Just raise that hand. Thank you. Want to be on air. Okay, so that's about 80% of the group. I'm going to ask this one last question, and then we are going to open it up for Q&A. But if for someone who wants to have an on-air career, Miss Claribel, you work in New York City, so you're in the #1 market in the United States. You work with the big wigs. What do college students need to have or should they have before applying for an on-air job?
I think your ability to communicate, like if you're going to an interview and they're asking you questions, be poised, be prepared to answer the questions, sound sincere, enunciate. And of course, because you're going to be on air, your appearance is going to be important. So dress like you have the job. I mean, you know what on-air people are wearing, and don't go a step above. Like in Emma Bowen, we always say, if you're supposed to be at work at 8 and you get there at 8, you're late. You need to get there before 8 o'clock so you can settle in and you can actually start working at 8. So if you're looking at folks anywhere, whether that be on air or any other job, and you see what they're wearing, you should step it up a little bit more because you want to stand out. You want to impress. So step it up a little bit, be poised, make sure that whatever device you're using, that it's good sound, that you have the right lighting. It's all those things for people that are on air is important. And females, it's whatever your hairstyle is going to make a difference. Even though things are changing a little bit, regardless, your makeup, you don't want to be like wearing maybe really large hoops because they may think like, wow, this is at the interview she's wearing that. What is she going to be wearing when she's here? So you want to be as professional and a little toned down, but something that you're going to stand out.
No, those are really good tips, being professional. One last question. What is a professional, Ms. Claribel? That's a tough question.
It's a tough question. You know what? It's a person that is confident in themselves, is someone that understands that you're not your own boss. So know what the rules are and what's expected of you. So when you get hired somewhere and they give you that onboarding, boring presentation, pay attention. Find out what the rules are. You want to know what those are so that you are your best. Respect yourself and respect others, because that is going to make you a better person and you're going to be who you are. You don't have to be what someone else wants you to be. respect yourself, respect those around you, and always listen. Pay attention to what's going on around you. And, you know, everyone has a manager, everyone has a manager, supervisor, someone they're reporting to, the team lead, whoever that is. You know, talk to them if you're concerned about something, or it's something that you don't understand. It's important. Another thing I'm going to mention about the workplace and being professional, it's super, super easy to hang out at the coffee pot, water fountain, whatever you want to call it, and listen to the gossip. Be careful. Don't get caught up in that, because that could actually hurt you in the long run.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, professionalism is also saying, hey, this is who I am. This is how I identify myself. And there are some things that I'm going to do, and there are some things I'm not going to do.
That's
So
right.
those boundaries, and that's important. So we're going to hop into Q&A. We have about 15 to 21 minutes with Miss Claribel, and it's important. What I want you to do is, before we get into Q&A, I want you to take a screenshot of us or the flyer, and I want you to do hashtag DCOW events and then tag us on social. So wait a minute. Now don't take a picture of us. We're not together. Let's smile first, okay? Then we can take out our phones, okay? Let me
Look, now everybody get, you know, fix your hair.
I know, and then the people who have who not showing their face, they look good anyway. On three. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. So go ahead and tag Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And as you all are tagging, I want to hop over to Ty. Miss Claribel, she is working in Lima, Ohio, and she is an anchor. So she also has a mentor who is a Black assistant news director in West Palm Beach. She was formerly a news director in Mississippi, but now I believe it's like Market 13, but now or top 20 market for West Palm. But that's who her mentor is. Ty, if you have a question, please go ahead and ask it.
Sure. So obviously, Kamara just gave you a little bit of background on me. I guess I have an interesting story. I have a situation where I've been at the same station twice. So I'm kind of still doing the same roles in a sense. How do I have to show that I was at the job twice, right? Because of the time period. There's 2 years in between at a different station. How do I try to make it look different, but still interesting, so I'm still marketable when someone picks it up?
You can do one or two things. You can actually separate them and make them two different events, or you can use the same company as a header. So you can use the station name and then what your position was from the time frame, just change the dates at the end. So I can't remember the name of the station. You would put the name of the station and then
Right.
your position, the dates, which would be your current dates. And then right underneath, you would do the same thing with the position that you had prior.
And I know you mentioned the name on the resume. I go by a different name on TV than I do with my government name. Should I go ahead and put my TV name, because that's pretty much a part of my brand?
So you would probably put your TV name in parentheses.
Okay. So
Because
still keep.
because if they're looking for your work history, so if I went to LinkedIn, would I find you under Ty or a different name?
You would find me under Ty still.
Yes.
I've literally branded it everywhere, the exact same thing, professionally.
And that's a good question, because I know sometimes people hyphenate their names.
Right.
But when they complete the application, they may not use the hyphen. And so it's just be consistent. You can also put your whichever one of the two names in parentheses, so that they know that there is another, you do have another name.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good
Thank
questions.
And make sure, Ty, that you connect with Miss Claribel, and I'm going to pop her email back up. And this is for everyone. Elbert, I know that you've had a great week. If you have a question, then we're going to go to Elbert and Gabrielle. You have a question, sir?
Yes, I do have a question. Can you hear me? So, can you hear me on this microphone? Can you hear me at all?
Mm-hmm.
Can hear
All
you.
right. So my question is to the speaker tonight. How important is it to have a solid edited resume, a solid cover letter, and a professional email address? How important is all three of those combined?
Your resume should be the very most important thing.
Right.
Always keep your resume updated. So make sure that it's solid. If you are still in school and you have access to a career center, use your career center. Your cover letter, you can have a cover letter that you can tweak depending on the job. So like, for example, you may apply at one company and you're looking for a producer, the title may be producer. You want to be able to change that cover letter a little bit to gear towards the position that you're applying for. So one place may ask you to have video editing experience, and the other one may not. So your cover letter is going to be a little bit more fluid, more, that you can switch it up a little bit, but your resume is going to be solid. You said a third thing. I can't, was that your email?
Professional email. How important is it to have a professional email address?
Well, what do you mean by professional email?
Like, say for instance, like the name of your email address. It's like, because some employers, of course, like don't serve like a lot of email addresses, like have some random name, random number on there. Like, how important that is to have like a professional email address that they can access and they can respect.
No, I mean, your email should be your email. I mean, if you have a Gmail, that's what you should be using.
But also the name of your email address name.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I'm talking about the name of your email address. Like, say for instance, your first and your last name, or say.
Oh, I don't think that matters. The emails, if it's attached to your resume, it doesn't matter. Sometimes we get, say for example, Claribel Nunez, and my email is completely different than what my name is. That should not be an issue.
I got you.
One of
As
the
long
things
as it's
so that you did,
professional, right?
yeah,
It shouldn't be like partygirl08
I
at
was
hotmail.com.
I was just going to mention that exactly.
That was my question.
And your phone message too. I mean, some folks, I have a son that his emails is like, the one that you pick up and he says hello and you think it's him on the phone, and you start talking and then you realize it's actually his voicemail. It's so annoying, but make sure that your voicemail is also professional. It should not be something crazy like, yeah, you miss me, you're lost, or some,
I had that in middle school. I would start talking to people, say hello, and then they'd be like, "What thought we was talking to you?"
Yeah, some people have some like, they're funny if you're in high school. They're not funny anymore if you're in college and you're looking for a job.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and that is some solid advice.
You're welcome.
Y'all make sure if y'all, and also, Gabrielle, we're going to get to you, tag the Emma Bowen Foundation. All right. They are based in New York City. And if you have any aspirations to go, or they can place you all over the world. But I want to make sure that you get connected with Ms. Claribel. Gabrielle, what is your question? And can you just give a little background about yourself?
Yes, I'm Gabrielle. Hi, Ms. Claribel. How are you today?
Good, thank you. Did you apply because your name looks familiar?
I'm sorry?
Have you applied to the program because your name looks familiar?
Yes, I just finished the interview right before this workshop, actually. It was great.
Can we give a round of applause? Yes, that's what we do. Excellent.
I see some other names that look familiar as well. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Shayla, let me see. It's Shayla. Hers, but go ahead. All right,
I'm a junior at Virginia Commonwealth University. I'm here majoring in mass communications with a concentration in broadcast. And my question was, how do you separate the things that you've done, like that don't really involve journalism, that you also want to add to your resume? Like, so for instance, I'm an assistant teacher right now at the YMCA, and I teach English. So would that be something I can put on my resume as a journalist, or should I just keep the things that I've done within journalism? Like, I write for the Commonwealth Times here at VCU. I've interned at the Virginia State Capitol. So, like, do I add the other good stuff, or do I just keep the all writing journalism aspect of it?
Okay, so yes, you keep it because it shows that you can multitask. So you're going to school, you're doing some journalism stuff for the paper or whatever outlet you're using, and you still have something where you're even though it's a job, you're still working in the community. So your skills, your English language skills are part of journalism, because if you can't write English, then you can't be a journalist. So yes, you should. However, keep in mind that you want to keep everything to a page. Don't go over a page. And when you finish your resume, sometimes you're so close to a second page that it gives a second page. So just make sure before you send a resume that you do only have one page.
Thank you so much for the advice. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I guess I'll see your video later.
Yes.
Good. See, that's what I like. The connections. That's what I like. All right, Shayla. Shayla, I'm gonna you are in Akron, Ohio, but she has a very interesting story. And I want you to introduce yourself to Miss Claribel as well. And did you already apply?
Not gonna lie, I didn't.
Okay, it's okay. When is the deadline, Miss Claribel?
So we'll be taking applications. I would say if you submit your application in the month of March, you have an opportunity to get in. However, I would recommend that you do your application ASAP. It doesn't really take that long. Ask Gabrielle, she knows. It's pretty simple, and the hire view takes about 20 minutes to complete. So it's the process probably takes a total of 40 minutes. So I do recommend, because just so you know, that this March and April is when we're filling our journalism or our media positions, journalism, broadcast, producing, anything that has to do with the media, newspapers and things like that.
And I'm going to be following up with Shayla. So she is going to get that application in. Okay. So believe that. Shayla, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. I want to know, because I'm a college student. I got a lot on my plate, but I'm a college student, and I want to know, what can I put on my resume with so little experience due to the pandemic? Because I worked at my college news station, and I gained a whole lot of experience and learning things. But when I built my resume, it's only but so much I could put on there because of the pandemic. So, how can I stand out with my resume and sharpen it up to where it looks like basically all I know is what I gained so far?
So I mentioned it earlier, I think students sell themselves short when they're not paying attention to everything you're doing. So if you walked into the news station or your newspaper, whatever you're working at, write down everything that you did, collected information, logged information. Sometimes we just do things and we're not paying attention to it because it's a routine. So I think you can still, go online, look at jobs that are things that you would want to do, right? Look at what those job descriptions look like, and take the words out of that job description and use them in your resume. If I don't know what year you are, but companies know if you're a freshman, if you're a freshman, you've lost a year of school because of exposure, I should say, because the pandemic. Even if you're a sophomore, it's the same situation. So I think and if you get to the interview point, you can say that, because of the pandemic, my experience has been limited, and people understand.
Okay, thank you so much. I like the way you worded that, because I've been getting on everybody's nerves about it, but I can't really get that out. I don't understand everything limited to college people, and it's kind of hard trying to piece everything together. So I really appreciate you giving me that feedback, because I was lost on that.
Yeah, Kamara put some sample resumes up, and just, sometimes we don't have a lot to put on a resume. So you want to still make it look like it's, a full page. Sometimes you got to play with the size of your font. You got to play around with the spacing between the different jobs, just so that it looks complete. So, you can do that. You can still fill your resume with, like, I don't know what you did. Have you played sports? Are you on, the drill team at school? What other activities do you do besides like educational, specifically school related, major related? Are you doing other things that are just, things that you're doing on an everyday basis at school?
Okay, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that.
Excellent
You're
job.
welcome.
Let's see, we have Dijon, Toddy, and then Cleo. Let me see. Oh, I'm sorry, Denise. I said you were going to be next. Denise and then Dijon.
Denise applied for us.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well.
Good. So my question is about elevator speeches. How important is it to have one prepared for an interview?
An elevator speech is not that important for an interview, but you should be able to have some sort of like a cordial conversation. Hi, how are you? How's it going? Everybody's locked up in their house right now. So you can talk a little bit about the pandemic. I mean, talk about the weather. Oh, where are you? Oh yeah, I'm in Las Vegas. It's still hot here. In New York, it's only 34. So you could have that kind, if that's what you mean by an elevator, speech. That's just something like an icebreaker almost. And usually whoever is on the panel is going to be prepared to have that kind of like icebreaker as well. So yeah, you can have something ready. If you're able to find out who your recruiting manager is, you can look them up on LinkedIn maybe and just find out a little bit about them as well, like what their career has been. And, then you can actually, during your interview, you can actually say things like, oh yeah, I noticed that you were a producer at ABC. How did that go for you? Like if you know a little bit about them, and that shows that you actually made an effort to find out about them as well. And the other thing, as far as the recruitment manager, if you are doing a cover letter and you know who the recruitment manager is because they send you an email, make sure you address the cover letter to them. Do not say to whom it may concern or, a blanket statement. Try to use the person's name.
Okay, thank you so much for that.
You're welcome, Denise.
Excellent, Denise. And make sure you email Ms. Claribel because I believe you can apply more than once, correct?
I mean, I know her application already.
Oh, my bad. Never mind.
I know where she lives.
Move.
Right, Denise?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see this. Okay, we have Dijon. Yes. How are you, sir? He's in Atlanta too, by the way, just to point that out there, Miss Claribel.
Yeah, I get around. Hi, Miss Claribel.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I did want to piggyback off of what Denise just said as I was listening. I had recently applied to CNN, and I noticed as you was telling her that you when you said that when you were talking about to whom it may concern, what if we don't know the hiring manager's name? How do we go about doing that?
You don't have a choice. I mean,
Okay.
like you have to say that because if you don't know who it is. But if someone sends you an email through the email, you may be able to guess who the name is, who the person is.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. If you can at all try to personalize it, it makes it so much better.
Okay, so personalized, I got you.
Okay, let's see. We also have Toddy. And if you do have a question, I want you to raise your hand. If you have already answered your question, then please lower your hand so I know who is to call on next. Toddy, please go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, Claribel. I've been out of school since 2017, and I've been working a couple places. So, I know you said that a resume should be one page. If I had like all my relevant experience, is it okay if it goes like one page, more than one page?
The only people that is recommended to have more than one page are people that have like doctorates. So a person that's more senior, you know, like they've been in the industry, whatever industry that is, for several years. I mean, I could be probably your grandmother in some cases, and my resume is only one page.
Okay.
So you can probably actually look at the words that you're using and maybe use more powerful words instead of using multiple words to describe something that you wanted to say. So you really should remember, play with your spacing, play with your fonts, and some fonts take up more space than others. Like if you use a bold or you use something else, it's going to take a little bit more room on the page than something that's just regular, let's say Arial 10 or something. But don't make it so small that somebody can't see it.
Okay.
Because then the presentation of the email, I mean, of the resume is just, if you make it too small, then the presentation really is just like black lines. So you want it to be small enough that you can get your stuff in, but big enough that someone can read it.
Okay, excellent, excellent, excellent. Does anybody else have a question? I see we have Gabrielle, De'Ara, Keisha, Crystal, Ty, Cleo, Lee, Sydney, Brianna, okay, and a lot more people. Ronald, does anybody else have a question for Ms. Claribel? Okay, Ronald, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hello. I just quick question I have. You were giving some good advice and good tips for a resume, but also through interviews. I would love to know, after an interview, what is your advice on follow-up emails? Do you feel like you should wait up a day to do it, or should we wait a week to do it?
No. You want to do it the next day, unless it's a Friday afternoon. So this is a tip that you all should know in even your professional life. If you want someone to read an email, you don't send it on a Friday afternoon. Reason being, people check out Friday afternoons. They're ready for the weekend. They're not paying attention to their emails. And if they see an email that is just from someone that's not their boss, they may not even open it until Monday. So then by Monday, all the people that have been emailing them on Friday afternoon, your email is going to be at the bottom of that, and it may take them a while to get to it. So my recommendation is emails go out after 10 a.m. on Mondays to 12 Fridays. In regards to, and thank you for asking that question, because I was going to bring that up. Make sure that you thank the person. Make sure you get their name right. That's the words. Don't spell their name wrong. Don't spell their name wrong. Get their name, thank them for their time, and then go back and discuss your qualifications. So for example, thank you so much, Claribel, for taking the time to interview me. I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to interview for the producing manager at CNN. My qualifications match the job. Don't make it too long. It should not be more than a paragraph. Because human tendency is that and you know this, if there's a long email, you're going to read the first 2 sentences and you're going to be like, yeah, I'll read this later. So you just want it to be short, to the point.
And the last thing I have is also, what is your opinion on if we're in an interview and we feel it's going well, and after that it's all done, we think that, I think this interview went the way we wanted to, and yet we don't get a email back, or not even a thank you for applying, but we're looking in a different direction. We get just ghosted. Like, how do you feel we should feel about that?
It's the worst feeling. It's so interesting because Kamara and I had this conversation about a particular company. I was interviewing for a company. They had a hire view, which is an online video interview. I did that. They called me in for another interview, which was like with 2 people. They called me in again and they told me, We want you to shadow someone that's doing the job. Please be prepared to be at least for 2 to 2.5 hours. Okay, I did that. Then they called me back. I literally went there 5 times, and 2 of those times were half days. And they specifically told you what time to get there. I never heard a thing from them. Nothing. Crickets. It was the most disgusting thing, and it's a very prominent company. And I was just so disappointed in them that I can't even, I'm not going to say I wouldn't recommend them to anyone because they are who they are, but I was just very disappointed that I never got anything back. And of course, I did send an email. Every time I was there, I did send an email. I even sent an email to the person that I was shadowing, like, thank you for your time, blah, blah, blah. And I never heard anything. You should still send an email and just say thank you anyway. You know, like send it to whoever you had contact with and say, you can say, I applied for this position. I interviewed on such and such date. I have not heard regarding the position. And if you never hear an answer from them, then there's nothing you can do. So one of the things that Emma Bowen, after my experience, it's been, that's one of our things. So we try to send out, like if you can be sent out for multiple different positions. So we make it an effort to make sure that if you didn't get the position, that we let you know that you didn't, because it's an awful feeling to be ghosted.
Thank you for your time. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Excellent, excellent. All right, we're about to wrap up. We're going to take one more question. Does anybody have one more? And then we are going to do a DCOW. See you later. Anybody have any more questions? Let me see this. Brianna, do you have anything? She's probably at work too. Oh, Brianna and Ty, y'all need to connect. Just heads up, because both of y'all are working anchors. Okay, never mind. I'm getting off my connection tidbit. But thank you, Miss Claribel. Thank you very much. Again, let me share my screen, because if you haven't already, I want you to reach out to Miss Claribel, and here's her email. She's a very nice person. Again, she helped me. Even if
I am most of the time.
Yes, but she will get you together. She got me together. This is her email, okay? And if you haven't already, I just want you as a DCOW member to send her a thank you. Uh-oh, did I say that? Yeah, maybe I did say that. Just to send her a thank you and just share with her how much you have learned. And then also, if we can just get off mute and just tell Miss Claribel thank you, that would be wonderful.
Thanks, Claribel.
Thanks so much.
That was awesome.
So just a little plug for Emma Bowen. You know, if you don't know about us, look us up. You know, we've been around for 31 years. We have over 1,000 active alums. And so some of them are like older. They're already in positions where they're making, you know, they're doing hiring, they're mentoring and things like that. That's another thing. Every one of you should have a mentor, whether that be someone you're related to or someone in the industry, but you really need to have a mentor, because mentors keep you focused. And sometimes they're the ones that tell you, go ahead and apply for it, because you never know, you could get it. The worst thing that could happen is they say no. So, you know, if you have it, you know, it is an undergrad program. We do have the AMP program. If you go on our website, you'll see that, which is alums and media professionals. So you can join that if you have already graduated. And they post jobs. They do have Zoom events and things of that nature at this point. And then the other thing is, because we do placements throughout the country, you should apply. I'm going to give you a few of the things that we are looking for right now. I think Kamara may have posted it already in the chat.
Okay.
Oops. So I know we have an opportunity at a station in Madison, Wisconsin. That one's we hope to have that completed by Friday. So this is why I'm saying it's important that you complete your application as soon as possible. We also have positions in North Carolina, Raleigh, Charlotte, Asheville, in Detroit, in all the major cities in Texas, Arizona, and in Florida. Those are all positions that are media related. So they're either going to be like broadcast journalism, multimedia journalists, and journalists that are print or digital print. So, you know, take the 40 minutes and, you know, I attest to how wonderful I'm not going to say we are, but, you know, we try to support you as much as possible in your journey, whether that journey is, you know, you're a freshman in college or you're a graduating senior. We work with you even post-graduation. That's what we do. And, you know, one of the things, like, I laugh because resumes are really important and we really get some really bad resumes. So take some time, go to your career center, even talk to your friends. Maybe your friends are better at, you know, putting a resume together than you are. And always look at the first one you had so you could see how good you really are compared to you know, your good one compared to the first one you had. During conference last year, one of our alums said that her resume looked like a cartoon character or something to that effect because it was so bad. But Claribel called me 5 times until I got it right. So take the time, work on your resume, share it with your friends, and, you know, not every job is for you.
That's right.
The job will come to you, but you have to do your part as well.
That's right. Thank you again. In the chat, can you all just drop some emojis and just tell Ms. Claribel thank you? Again, Ms. Claribel, thank you for your time and your wisdom and sharing with us resume
welcome.
interview techniques. I mean, this has been helpful. You have helped so many people. And of course, this recording is going to be available. This is a free class, so this is going to be available on our e-recording for our DCOW.com members. We are just so grateful for you. And again, if you need to reach out to Ms. Claribel, her email is I just showed it on the PowerPoint, and you could just email dcow.included@gmail.com and we can send it over to you. Again, thank you all for your time.
Thank you for having me, Kamara.
No problem.
You know, I love young people.
Yes.
I love young people that are trying to get better. Yay.
Yes. Yay.
We need to diversify everything. It was, you know, I wish we could place every student, you know, our opportunities are very competitive. We have this year, I think we have almost 6,000 applicants and we only have, I think, 100 placements. So it's very competitive. So, you know, send me your application. And you know what, if you're not interested in Emma Bowen, you want me to look at your resume, I'm happy to do that as well.
Do y'all see that? I don't think other people or companies would do that. I'm just saying, that's just the privilege about being with Emma Bowen. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
All right, good people. I'll see you later. I should see over 20 to 30 tags on social media and post inside the Facebook group. That's mandatory. All right, love you guys and talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.